every year is historic for the B.A.A.'s Boston Marathon. 2021 was especially important because it marked the 125th running of the oldest continuous marathon in the world. In 1924, the B.A.A. moved the starting line from Ashland to Hopkinton. And from there began a bond, a working relationship that's unlike any other between a small town and a major marathon in the world. That deserves some recognition. And hence, Hopkinton's salute to the B.A.A. and its 125th Boston Marathon.
The Boston Marathon has just been a fabulous part of my life, and I'm excited to be here tonight to celebrate this with everybody. This is really cool. We're back together. The marathon's going to happen. People are coming to town. It's going to be really cool.
One of the reasons why I'm here is that there's a deep spiritual connection between running and the religions of the world. And we draw spiritual insights from it. Obviously, I'm a Christian, and so from our scriptures, consider it all joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of many kinds, because the testing of your faith produces endurance. And it's an athletic metaphor that we test ourselves, we test our bodies, we push ourselves through difficulties because it makes us stronger and we endure. Father, I want to thank you for this opportunity because it reminds us that under difficult times we can endure, and we have been through difficult times these past 18 months. It reminds us that we need unity, that we need perseverance, we need community, we need charity in order to finish the race well. And during this difficult time, Father, we pray that we would run our race well, so that with endurance, we would look towards a finish line that we could cross, and at the end we could receive a reward and say, I am pleased that I have run well. We thank you for the reminder that the Boston Marathon gives to us of these important virtues. And we pray for safety with the event that's coming up, so that all who run may run well. Amen.
The Hopkinton Chamber and the Hopkinton businesses look forward to the annual running of the Boston Marathon. As you know, it all starts here. The marathon gives our community purpose, delight, and inspiration to just keep moving forward. The Hopkinton Chamber, in conjunction with the town of Hopkinton, the chamber businesses, will again proudly expand the Hopkinton Marathon footprint throughout the marathon season by hanging 50-plus marathon banners along the first mile of the course. These highly visible banners will collectively show the entire marathon racing community, including those running by our town and the chamber business members, of our support and spirit of the Boston Marathon. I'd like to invite Dr. Michael O'Leary to join me on stage.
So good evening, dear friends. It is a great honor to be here in Hopkinton among many friends, officials, philanthropists, volunteers, to underline the historic and unbreakable ties connecting Greece, Hopkinton, and Boston Marathon. The Consulate General of Greece in Boston is proud to be part of the history, but also the present of Boston Marathon, and of course, of its cooperation with the B.A.A. I was thinking about our connections with the B.A.A., but I could never imagine of the last one I found out when the chairman of the B.A.A. told me that 4% of his non-Irish DNA is Greek. So, one more bond. And we are particularly honored to bring and present every year wreaths from Greece for the winners of the Boston Marathon. And as you know, these wreaths symbolize the historical roots of the marathon and its connections to ancient Greece, democracy, and the Olympic ideal of fair play. And we feel very privileged that together with some very important organizations, such as the Alpha Omega Council, Costa, Nick, Randy, thank you for being here, and the 26.2 Foundation team, thank you for all your help. We are keeping alive this tradition, but also the story of Stylianos Kyriakidis, the unexpected Greek winner of the 1947 Boston Marathon, the first runner in modern history who ran for a charitable cause. He came to Boston to run and fundraise to gather supplies for the people of Greece, devastated by the Nazi occupation and the following civil war. Not far from where we stand right now, the statue of Stylianos Kyriakidis reminds us of his perseverance, resilience, and faith, and the importance of running for philanthropy and other Greek work. These qualities, dear friends, are guiding us today in Hopkinton as we rise and fight together the pandemic. And I think that there is no place than Hopkinton to host an international marathon center that will advance the importance of marathon and the ideas of sportsmanship and fair play, increasing awareness of the connections between democracy, the battle of marathon, and the marathon run. So congratulations to Hopkinton and to the 26.2 Foundation. And we are very grateful to the B.A.A. and the thousands of volunteers and all the people working hard for the 2021 Boston Marathon. Thank you.
You know, when I meet new people, they ask, where do I live? I tell them, from Hopkinton, Massachusetts. I say, where is that, they say. I say, well, it's exactly 26.2 miles from Boston. Well, if they haven't guessed by then I give them another little nudge, and I say, you know, every year, tens of thousands of people flock to Hopkinton from all over the world, and they all run away. Well, if that little nudging hasn't gotten them there, then I tell them, okay, this is where the Boston Marathon starts. You know, the marathon is part of our identity, and we wouldn't have our identity without the Boston Athletic Association. On April 19, 1897, excuse me, 10 years after the establishment of the B.A.A., the association held the 24.5-mile marathon to conclude its athletic competition, the B.A.A. Games. The inaugural winner was John J. McDermott, JJ, who ran the 24.5-mile course in 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 10 seconds, leading a field of, get this, 15. The event was scheduled for the recently established holiday of Patriots' Day, with the race linking the Athenian and American struggles for liberty. The race became known as the Boston Marathon, which has been held every year since then, even including during the World War years and the Great Depression, making it the world's oldest annual marathon. In 1924, the starting line was moved from Metcalfe's Mill in Ashland to Hopkinton Common, and the course was lengthened to 26 miles, so for those counting, that's 385 yards, or 42.195 kilometers, to conform to the standard set for the 1908 Summer Olympics and codified in 1921. Hopkinton residents have played a central role in the Boston Marathon. George V. Brown and Walter Brown provided strong leadership in ensuring the longevity of the marathon. Over the years, Hopkinton residents have been contributors to the B.A.A. Board of Governors. In addition to George and Walter Brown, Paul Phipps, Tony Sicuso, Harold Rothburn, and Tim Kilduff have served as governors, and Tom Brown, Walter's brother, served as the B.A.A. president. Worth noting, our local post office is named after him. Hopkinton created the Hopkinton Marathon Committee in 1979. It's the only Seagirt town through which the marathon runs, which has such a committee. Hopkinton Marathon Committee is still functioning and supports the community's efforts in hosting the start of this historic running competition. The marathon is part of our identity. This identity shows up throughout the town, demonstrating Hopkinton's respect and admiration of the B.A.A. and Boston Marathon. They include the Spirit of the Marathon sculpture, located at mile 1, honoring the 1946 champion, Stylianos Kyriakidis. That was commissioned by New Balance. The Team Hoyt sculpture, that was commissioned by John Hancock. The Starter sculpture, which recognizes George V. Brown, that was commissioned by the 26.2 Foundation. And the soon-to-be unveiled The Girl Who Ran sculpture, recognizing Bobby Gibb, the first woman to run the Boston Marathon. That's also commissioned by the 26.2 Foundation. But it's not just statues. Our newest school bears the name Marathon School. The street separating the town common from Main Street is Marathon Way. And our newest, and I guess probably our first brewery, is Start Line. But let us not forget what I consider to be the crowning jewel, once it's completed, is the International Marathon Center. It's safe to say that the stature of the Boston Marathon and its ties to the town of Hopkinton was part of the inspiration for the creation and vision of the International Marathon Center. The B.A.A. has been a contributor to a number of projects in Hopkinton, including substantial contributions to the restoration of our town common, gazebo, and the installation and upgrades of bleachers at the high school field, which we saw in the video. Recently, the strength of the connection between Hopkinton and the B.A.A. and the 26.2 Foundation has resulted in a number of meaningful community-based programs, including the middle school's Desire to Inspire program and the Hopkinton Library's Reading Marathon. It's just another example of our shared values of inclusion, education, and diversity. The most obvious example of those values is the International Field of Runners, where we welcome all races. On Marathon Day, a global village is welcomed and embraced here in Hopkinton before they all run away. But it does offer the most apt definition of diversity, of which Hopkinton is proud to be a welcoming coast. But here in Hopkinton, also part of the welcome, but we here in Hopkinton are also part of the welcome diversity from the B.A.A. While I do not share the dollar amounts, or I'm not sure of the dollar amounts, we should thank the B.A.A. for its leadership and for awarding invitational entries to the town, as well as the 26.2 Foundation. As I said, the marathon and the B.A.A. are part of our identity. We look forward to another 100 years, 125 years, in partnership with the B.A.A. Just remember, it all starts here. On behalf of the town of Hopkinton and Board of Selectmen, I'd like to present Dr. Michael O'Leary with It All Starts Here.
Run Boston strong, we won't be run asunder. Hate won't win out, love wins the final turn. No turning back, take back our spirited thunder. Spirit forge on as we run Boston strong. Many forced to sacrifice their good health, life, and ease. Caught in a death trap set by two hearts in deep freeze. Many states, towns, countries came to celebrate the run. Gone back home to heal their devastation. Run Boston strong, we won't be run asunder. Hate won't win out, love wins the final turn. No turning back, take back our spirited thunder. Spirit forge on as we run Boston strong. Some ran back towards the blast to help the common good. Others ran extra miles to give blood, 'cause they could. Still others crossed their finish lines, souls fighting through the mess. Some stood shell-shocked, some ran away, each did their best. Run Boston strong, we won't be run asunder. Hate won't win out, love her spirit and thunder. Spirit forge on as we run Boston strong. Run Boston strong, we won't be run asunder. Hate won't win out, long wins the light will turn. No turning back, take back our spirit and thunder. Spirit forge on as we run Boston strong. Boston strong.
Since 1979, the Hopkinton Marathon Committee has shared the long, enjoyable, deep partnership with the B.A.A. The HMC and the B.A.A. work together to ensure the marathon is truly a safe and enjoyable event for all involved. We welcome thousands of runners and spectators to the start line every year, and it's been a joy for the small town of Hopkinton to celebrate this most prestigious marathon in the world and cherish all the joy that the marathon brings to us. You know, this is my 36th year, so not quite 100, but I've met a lot of wonderful people, become friends with and everything, but have had the joy to work closely with the B.A.A. and seeing some of the inner workings, the effort that goes on. I mean, a lot of people just think, well, it comes out every year and it goes off flawlessly, so they know what they're doing. But it really takes the expertise and proficiency of a lot of people from the B.A.A., a lot of the 8 towns throughout the course. Everybody, hundreds, thousands of volunteers that make the marathon a success. And I've always said, it's the people you meet over the years that are the real joy that you get from the marathon. It's the runners. It's the kids serving water or giving oranges. Or it's the person that you meet from years ago that is running for an occasion to raise money for one of the charities. It's all those things that make this such a spectacular event. And we salute the Boston Athletic Association on the 125th running of the Boston Marathon and proudly present this gift to you from the Hopkinton Marathon Committee. And Dr.
I've designed and collected many challenge coins in the past. However, this one is very special. Many other challenge coins acknowledge and bring attention to a single organization. This coin, on the other hand, brings attention to 3. For years, I've touted the wonderful influence of the Boston Marathon and its start line has had on the citizens of Hopkinton. I'm proud to have accomplished a key goal while in elected office, creating a strong and true partnership between the town of Hopkinton, the Boston Athletic Association, and the 26.2 Foundation.
The B.A.A. and the YMCA are both committed to promoting healthy lifestyles for all. As an official charity of the Boston Athletic Association, we've been able to raise and leverage significant funds to support programs and services that our communities depend on while promoting the sport of running and celebrating the Boston Marathon and its inspirational runners. The impact of the Boston Marathon charity program cannot be overstated. This program mobilizes runners both locally and from around the globe to raise critical dollars to do important work in our communities. This year, for the first time, I'm actually one of those charity runners. And I can tell yes, I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited. It's going to be great. So now I just need to make it to October 11th, close the deal by finishing in one piece. But on behalf On behalf of the YMCA Board of Directors and our entire Y community, we want to thank all that you do, and we salute you, Boston Athletic Association. Thank you all.
I am honored to be here with my friend and colleague, the Senate President, and we're all so grateful for her leadership in the legislature, and to talk about the Boston Marathon, because you truly can't talk about Hopkinton without talking about the Boston Marathon.
Everybody who's here, who's involved, wants to be here to help celebrate this event in the B.A.A. And thank you to Tom Grilk and the B.A.A. and your staff consistently for your close partnership with Hopkinton and all of the communities, 4 of which I represent, and I know what a great partnership you have and impact you have. So I thank you so much for that. It's a resolution. Congratulations to the Boston Athletic Association on the 125th anniversary of the Boston Marathon. Whereas the Boston Athletic Association will celebrate the 125th Boston Marathon on October 11th, 2021. And whereas the Boston Athletic Association was established on March 15, 1887 by its first president, Robert F. Clark. And whereas athletes and coaches from the Boston Athletic Association participated in the first modern Olympic Games in 1896, when the long-distance running competition was introduced. And following these games, the Boston Athletic Association's representatives, intrigued by the idea of a long-distance running marathon, began plans to host a similar event. And whereas
Karen wore her glasses, that was probably smart. Whereas the Boston Marathon, as the race would later become known, was first held on April 19, 1897, with a starting field of 15 runners, making it the world's oldest and most prestigious annual marathon. And whereas the town of Ashland hosted this 26.2-mile course from 1897 until 1923, when the town of Hopkinton took over as host, now therefore be it resolved that the Massachusetts General Court hereby congratulates the Boston Athletic Association on the 125th anniversary of the Boston Marathon, and be it further resolved that a copy of these resolutions be transmitted forthwith by the Clerk of the Senate and the House to the Boston Athletic Association. And it is signed by the Senate President, Karen Spilka, the Clerk of the Senate, the House Speaker, Ron Mariano, Senate President Karen Spilka, and Carolyn Dyke, the State Representative. So to the B.A.A., for all you do on this prestigious anniversary, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It's, we at the B.A.A. are feeling the love from Hopkinton. And guess what, Hopkinton? We love you back. I have some prepared comments, but I think I'm going to just leave them. But I think you should hear from our president. The title has changed recently. We changed governance recently. That hadn't been done since about 1890 something. So I am the board chair, and our president and chief executive officer is Mr. Tom Grilk, who I want him to come up here, and maybe we can tag team this thing. Without Hopkinton's support, the Boston Marathon simply doesn't happen. And we think of it as the pinnacle of road races throughout the world. So I want to thank the Hopkinton Marathon Committee, and you've heard from many of them tonight. I enjoyed it immensely. The Hopkinton Chamber of Commerce, the Center for the Arts, particularly the 26.2 Foundation. Tim, thank you for hosting us. Hopkinton Police and Fire, without them this doesn't happen either. And for the many, many volunteers here in Hopkinton and throughout the entire race course. Your support will make the 125th a truly historic event. Also want to thank Tom and his team. some of whom are here, I think. Point them out, please.
Let's see, people here from the B.A.A, from our internal staff, I think over by the back wall over there. Chief Operating Officer Jack Fleming, Director of Race Operations, Director Lauren Proshing, Kendra Butters, Director of Communications Scott Stover, Director of Marketing, and an old pal of mine from the days to which the memory of man runneth not to the contrary, our Race Director Dave McGilvery, all here, and all do a magnificent job in putting everything.
Let me just close by, with the memory of Gloria Ratty. I was just thinking as we were here and I was bringing all of these wonderful mementos back, wouldn't she love to see all of this? She really would have. So they will go someplace special in, perhaps in her museum, but they'll be a special part of our history and the history that you will make in exactly 18 days.
More or less.
More or less. So
this is an olive branch from Marathon, Greece. The symbolism is extremely powerful. I'm reminded that if you gaze on the seal of the United States, one of the tongues of the eagle is holding an olive branch. This is an extremely powerful symbol for me. And I've been wanting to do this for a long time. Stratos, I think you ought to come up here and help me make this presentation. And I think there's no one more fitting to receive this, and I'm sure you'll agree, than Tom Grook. So Tom, if you would, please accept this symbol from